Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another fine episode of Record Breakers. I'm Petey Rave, here with you. Here with me is my quorum of friends, my reviewing crew. We got none other than Drew.
Hey, how you doing?
We got Brett.
Uh-huh.
And we've got Patrick.
Word up.
We're going to talk about music, and this week the provider of the music is me. I'm the provider of the music, and what we're going to be talking about is an interesting gal by the name of Lim Kim, birth name Kim Yerim, well-known member of a duo in South Korea, in the Republic of Korea, called Two I don't worry, guys. You're not going to ever need to pronounce that name. Don't worry about it. You can just say Lim Kim. They appeared on a show called Superstar K3 and came in third place. And, behind, perennial, stalwarts in the current, Korean pop music scene, Busker and, Ooh La La Session. They were originally going to be a duo. But the male dude, the dude Denny Doe, had to go back and finish high school. So they decided, hey, let's just have the really cool, talented singer just debut on her own. And they gave her a few releases and this full-length album called Goodbye 20. And let's go ask you guys. I'll go with Brett. Brett, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
Well, seeing that I am no master of this style of music or the location in which this music comes from, I had no idea. When it comes to East Asian music, I think Goodbye is a common theme for the albums that Petey makes me listen to, so I figured if it's got Goodbye in the name, I don't know, it's worth listening to. But no, I had no clue.
Mm-hmm. Patrick, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
I knew it was Korean because you told us it was Korean, and you're 1 for 2 on the Koreans with me because I still love Love X Stereo. And while I can't say a bad thing about Yerim, it's just not my thing. So I figured it's Korean music. There's a chance I might like it, but I had no idea what I was getting into.
And Drew, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
Well, my first expectation was to get the wrong album, but I got the right one, so that's alright. But I knew that moving... I got a couple of people left. But you said with the last one that you were slowly going more into the K-pop route, so I had an expectation that we were going to get way more into the pop side of the K-pop realm in the Korean market, but other than that, I legitimately had no idea. I knew that it was Lim Kim seems like a very female-oriented name for a group or band or whatever they want to call the artist here. So I just figured I was going to get a lot of female focused vocals, and that was pretty much going to be what that Gravy Train was on, I guess you could say. So.
Okay, I've got to get all of my Drew didn't listen to the right album material out of the dock. Hold on a second. Let me just delete that.
Damn it.
All right.
Can I ruin that?
We're back.
I wanted to make sure to hit that right off the bat just so I didn't have to hear it the rest of the podcast.
Yes. This is a really kind of cool, interesting record. It has a lot of different music. It's several different musical styles that it explores. Really cool themes and elements. But the main element that permeates it, because it is a construct built around a single singer, it is the vocals. Lim Kim has a very cool, unique, kind of airy vocals that is often kind of imitated on variety shows. Is actually kind of it's a thing to do the Lim Kim impression, particularly the song All Right. But it's her voice. She has a very cool, unique voice, and they utilize it pretty well. exploring things, folky songs, kind of more R&B songs, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of soul, kind of exploring different, like realms and different parts, but all centered around the vocals. Let me ask you, Drew, what themes and elements stood out for you?
Well, usually I like to go into lyrical themes. Can't really do that, don't understand a lick of Korean. So, kind of lost there. The music was super catchy, don't get me wrong, but it felt a bit all over the place. The music, like, no matter what genre they hopped into, it seemed like it was almost like a cutout of what that genre was. Like, you could just throw it in the middle of a block in that genre of radio station, and it sort of fit. Which is cool, if that's what they were going for, which I assume it would be. But it felt a bit cookie-cutter to me. And it's like... I think that works. In that sort of world of selling singles that we're sort of in now, you can sort of get that slice of like, oh, I enjoy the Lim Kim of this style, so I'm going to buy those couple of tracks or whatever. With all that being said, though, I'm not gonna lie, it was catchy. There were songs on here that had me bobbing my head, tapping my toe a little bit. It wasn't exactly what I normally listen to. In regards to my average everyday listening, I'll get into what I mean by that a little bit later on. But I kind of wish that they would have decided. Like, it felt like they were very much trying to hop across genres and really push her vocal out, which they did in great, great numbers. But I wanted to see sort of an identity come out, and I don't feel like it did for me.
Brett, what would be the themes and elements that stood out for you?
I went and I had to watch some YouTube videos because if I knew anything about this kind of music, there was going to be videos. So I went to YouTube, and I actually used their closed captioning translations on some of them.
Oh, I'm sure that was brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I really didn't find any gold in those hills. Well,
I think they just have the English subs, the proper ones. There's a sort of format that they are following. It's very like a 90s pop rock sound to it. Like it's not something that's like brand new. It's not something that just they came up with. All of a sudden, it's very derivative, but what they did well. There's some crazy piano plus girl song. There's some electric piano and drums sort of songs that harken back to the heady days of 1995 on contemporary rock radio. But there was the vocals were top notch. There's, it's easy to be like, oh, it's pop music in a world where there's plenty of people that can sing really well. It should be noted there's some really good vocals. And for a music that's not in my native tongue, it was catchy. Not sure I could sing along, but or want to, but it was put together very well. Yeah, Patrick, what would be the themes and elements that stood out for you? What was your impression?
For me, it was very hit or miss. When it hit really well, and there were really, catchy, fun songs that I liked. Like, not to like dive right into the whole track thing, but the first song sounded such like a Kate Nash song, like that I was just like, wait, is this some like Korean Kate Nash right now? And that song kind of was, and you had little bits of that in there. I would say I think Brett's hit it sort of. There's something mid to early 90s, pop radio rock about it, but in a good way. In that a lot of popular music in the States right now is incredibly electronically driven, and this album had tons of studio musicians playing music well. And that was kind of fun to hear and refreshing and different than what we've, in the States at least, have been, given by the music industry, which, just keeps, throwing trap beats or, dubstep wobble bass under some girl singing and maybe, having some R&B rapper guy shout some stuff in the middle. And this, it had a song like that, but it also had a lot of really well played instruments and good instrumentation. It was a bit schizophrenic in the use of genres, but hey, it's better than, I guess, everything sounding exactly like the same thing and sounding, like a derivative version of itself. And like I said, there were some songs on it I really did enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and getting to some of the tracks, you talk about, we do the record breakers thing, talk about the first track, which is the kind of the lead promotion signal, Goodbye 20, which is a really cool, interesting, kind of catchy song about being a 20-year-old. And if you want some context, further context, I can give you a lesson on the Korean aging system. When you are born, you are 1 year old, and you age every New Year's. So each entire year, you are a certain age after turning a year older on New Year's Eve. And when you are 20 in Korean age, that is the year that when you're 20, you are basically an adult. That's your coming of age time, because, you're 18 going on 19, and it's a very formative year. So it's like it gives you a little bit of a context over that song, the lyrical form for that song. And, it is the lead single. It's a very poppy song. There's also tracks like Number One, which was a song that was from the duo that they went ahead and put into this one. Does a really cool job of going back and forth between Lim's vocals and the male vocals. All Right, which is the song that people like to imitate when they like to imitate Lim Kim's voice. And it's a really cool kind of spooky song. Really uses her vocals well. Has some cool moments. Songs like You Know It All or Without Knowing It All. Another kind of really cool, mood song. And, songs like Rain that does a little bit more of the jazz. And possibly the one you were referring to, Patrick, The Voice, which features Swings, which is a very prominent rapper, that Kaz and I could go on and on about, Korean hip hop, but a very prominent rapper. And, he kind of does that more R&B style. So it has those different styles. I'll start with Brett. Brett, what songs caught your attention? What tracks caught your attention?
Well, the song Rain, anytime there's, good piano, and female vocals mixed together, it's kind of, and it's not just, somebody over singing with big voice. This was a very, very well put together song. It doesn't overstate itself. Number One, that's where I got the most 90s feel. That was put that as the opening song to a sitcom about a kooky group of people in their late 20s in an apartment someplace. Rain was okay. It had a way weird, video if you go it was a room full of old stereos and an earthquake happens. There were some really solid tracks in here. All Right had that electric piano and the snappy drums to it that it had a weird breakdown about halfway through that was kind of weird, but it was pretty groovy. But yeah,
some tracks. Drew, what would be some of the tracks that caught your attention and why?
Well, let's go to The Voice again. That song to me sounded, it was really great. Don't get me wrong. Catchy song. But it sounded like sort of a, how should I put this? A business time song? If, my Flight of the Conchords fans get what I mean by that. So there was that. I felt like I should have candles and stuff. What should I do?
Bath.
Yeah, right. What Should I Do was, when I said I don't normally listen to this type of music in my normal day-to-day, the only time I would hear this style of music is if I'm watching StarCraft players from Korea, and those songs, to me, What Should I Do, really scream that, like a mid-tempo, very cool vocal run sort of song. And then I don't think I can not talk about Coloring. It's the one with the reggae upstrokes. You really think you're gonna get an album by me without me mentioning the reggae upstrokes? If I will gravitate towards that till the day I die, I don't know what it is. It got me right off the bat. I was like, oh god, they're doing the ska thing, aren't they? I hate Petey for doing this to me right now, because it's exactly what grabs me. And like, oh, that was hitting that one. I was like, all right. I think I can deal with the rest of this album. Like, I was like, I'm in. Like, it's fun. And that one really had me going. So that one was probably my favorite on the whole album, if I'm going to be honest. So.
Mm-hmm. And Patrick, what would be some of the tracks that caught your attention and why?
I'm going to do the Record Breakers thing and talk about the opener Goodbye 20, which, like I said, sounded like Korean Kate Nash. It's just sort of that, modern, poppy girl thing that goes on, but it isn't like disgustingly poppy. And I like it, and I enjoyed it. The vocals were really good. And even if I don't understand Korean, I you can kind of get the vibe of what the song is, and your explanation is more or less the vibe of the song. Is, that it's a song about growing up and a transition point in your life. I really liked Coloring too. I think Drew was spot on that one. It's just a good song. I thought it was just, the ones that I really liked were the ones with more folky bits or more, like pop rocky bits rather than like number one I felt was like almost too much sugar kind of pop, like super pop, and I didn't enjoy it for that, I guess. And without knowing it all, for whatever reason, it just really nice and it had an interesting feel to it, and I just enjoyed that one, kind of mixed in there. And a voice, I hated it. I hate when that happens on modern American pop radio. It bothers me. It seems like such like we're going to get this person from this other related genre of music who is established, and then we're going to put a girl with them to make the girl more famous. And I mean, it's something as old as time, but I hate it right now. And I hate modern, like the modern rap R&B thing that's kind of going on. It just, to me, and Petey's going to kick me for saying it sounded like Korean Pitbull, and it bothered me. I know, like all of like songs.
Yeah. The thing is, it's hard because I would say it isn't as incongruous as it is over here in the States, just because I think it was I would say that it was incorporated a little better than you are giving it credit to, and. I actually kind of like that song.
You're allowed to. Hey, that's why we're here. We disagree. It was. I don't like that thing from. Right now. I'll get over it. One of those just irrational, like nails on a chalkboard things that music does sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely agree with. I definitely understand where you're coming from on that. Didn't bother me as much just because I can understand that it's less incongruous. Did you guys, and I'm going to ask you real quick before I get the conclusion for you guys, did anybody utilize the translations I linked for you guys?
No, I didn't even notice.
I got translations for most of the stuff that I watched on the video that were pretty good, from the official YouTube page.
So it'd just be interesting, and I had it all the way at the bottom. But it was just something interesting because I noticed that you guys said like, oh, I didn't understand lyrics. It's very interesting, and we kind of go back around the horn. Brett, what would be kind of your conclusions? What would be your thoughts on the album overall?
I mean, this is about as far from what I normally listen to as you can get. But you know what? It was very well done. It was well produced. I mean, it's meticulously well put together. There's good musicianship going on. I can't fault it for any technical reasons other than it just wasn't my groove. And at the Record Breakers podcast, we don't come with the definitive review. We're the end all be all of reviews. There's no more room for people to have opinions after the show. But no, go listen to it for yourself. If you just listen to some of the main tracks off the album, and if you like it, dig deeper. 'Cause there's plenty of that to get into.
Mm-hmm. Drew, what would be your conclusions about the album overall?
The music overall was very, very well done, fidelity-wise. It was obviously put a lot of money into this and a lot of time and effort into the music side, even though it sounded a bit cookie-cutter to me, playing-wise. But this girl's got a voice. She's a really solid singer. And it's just, to me, if that's what you're going for, if you want to hear just a really great singer, you can't go wrong with this one. She is really, really fantastic. And I'm actually interested to see when it's not just her. When it's her and the other guy when he gets back from high school or whatever. I want to see what happens with them. That would be cool to see.
I imagine they're working hard on it because I believe they've resolved things, and then they're working in the studios and stuff like that, and working on stuff. But yeah, Patrick, what would be your thoughts about the album overall?
There were some songs I definitely enjoyed and some that I didn't, but on the whole, I feel like American pop music could learn a lot from this right now. Just sort of there's actual music being played by actual musicians. And not that I don't love electronic music for what it is, and not that I haven't brought it to the show, but you gotta have both in the world, because guitars and drums and bass and keyboards and stuff are always need to be part of popular music as far as I'm concerned. And there was some it was refreshing in that sense. There were some songs that just didn't do it for me, and that's the case with a lot of records, especially something that you're coming into blind and that you also is completely foreign to you, both stylistically and in terms of, the language and the audience it was directed towards. I am not the target demographic here, but, the girl's got talent, and there's enough good here that it's, if you're curious, you're probably not gonna hate it. There's not a lot to hate here. It's just, can end up, like Petey, who loves it, or like me, who's kind of meh on it, but it's worth a listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that would be what I definitely agree with you guys. It's very she has fantastic vocals. It can be hit or miss for a lot of people. I happen to enjoy a lot of it, but it can be hit or miss for a lot of people, especially with kind of the way it jumps around on styles. And kind of explores a lot of different styles with the only central goal of being showcasing her vocals. But overall, I think people should check it out and see kind of and think another example of what I've been doing with the last one and this one, and I might do another couple of them where I want to showcase that. The entirety of East Asian pop culture is more than just idol music, more than just the idol music. So want to see that, hey, there's some other stuff out there happening, and you should check it out if you like good tunes. So yeah, that would be the conclusion of from me, is that it's a really well done, different record that isn't what you assume is coming out of that country. So yeah, let's get to the main event of the evening. Enough of me flapping my gums for a moment there. Let's get to the haiku reviews. What y'all been waiting for. I'll go with Drew. What is your haiku?
That was the weirdest roulette ever. also probably the ugliest. The lyrics lost me, but my toes seem to tap from the mystic voice. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brett,
That was lame.
what is your haiku?
Lovely sounding tunes with very nice vocals. Nothing that I hate.
Mm-hmm. Patrick, what is your haiku?
There's a few good songs, just not my cup of soju. Please pass the soju.
Yes. Yes, the soju. Of course, my haiku. I apologize to any native speakers. I did this with Google Translate. But here it goes. Boisu debak. Dayanghan stairin. Jamyan backup hand. Which means voices is awesome. Diverse styles from front to back. And I apologize once again. I'm very, very sorry. Just but that is it for another fine episode of the Record Breakers. If you want to keep following along, this album won't be on it, but if you want to follow along at home with all of our records that we review, go ahead and check out our Spotify playlists. We will keep track of it, curate it to leave you with what we're listening to at any given week. So you can keep playing along with Record Breakers, the home game, our consolation prize every week. But on that playlist is going to be next week's record, and that's going to be provided by Patrick. Patrick, what do you got on the docket for next week?
So we haven't done a double album since before anyone heard this show, and we did The Clash, and I didn't want to do a double album, but I wanted to do this album, and that is Husker Du's album Zen Arcade.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be an interesting talk. Some Husker Du action. But that's it for us. You can find us all over the internet. Patrick is at The Swagger. Brett is at HibbityBibbard, HIBBITYBIBBARD. Drew is at XDruciferX. I'm at Petey Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. Rebelli.net for all the other shows. RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com. Stitcher, iTunes. Subscribe to us everywhere. You can find us everywhere. Until next time. Hasta los huevos.
Doodaloo.